All right. G'day, guys. We're changing things up a bit this week. I'm going to introduce this week's podcast. Thankfully, Daz has actually let me he's handballed it to me at the last minute and gone, all right, Azza, you introduce this week's podcast. So we're up to episode 13, Daz, aren't we? Welcome to the 13th podcast, mate.
Crazy, mate. I can't wait. So I'm with you, Azza. You got fun to introduce, mate. He seems like a top bloke. I've had a quick chat to him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it all to you. You'll lead this, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy and just jump in when I feel like it.
Absolutely, mate. So first off, Daz, how have you been going, mate, this past week since we've done our last podcast?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a shambles, I'm a mess. I'm frustrated. I've got every emotion you can carry right now. I just don't know where we're going with this. I always say week in, week out, I'm not going to say who I'm for and who I'm against and what I think, what I feel. I go about my things my way. But right now, I'm just absolutely blown away by the mess that not just we are in as a state, as a community. You know, what people are saying, feel. You know, I get their anger and I get it. I support it, and it's hard to see that we are such a divided community right now. But me personally, mate, I don't know how I feel. I don't know where I sit, and I just want to open up my business and do what I do best, and we can't. So that happens, mate. I won't be myself. But anyway, let's talk about this legend below us. It looks like the Brady Bunch. Hey, Steve, look up to me. Just look up. Look up. Yeah, that's it. Now I'll look to you the other way. That's what they do in the Brady Bunch. Remember that? Was that before your time?
Mate, it's a bit before our time, Daz.
All right,
showing your age a little, mate.
Let's introduce this legend of a man. Let's introduce him.
Let's introduce him. So probably I might be a bit biased here, but I think we've got a great guest on this week, mate. My cousin, Stephen Benstead. Welcome, Steve-O, to the podcast of both sides of the line, mate. It's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Excellent. Now, Steve-O, we've got you on this week because I really wanted to get you on personally because obviously you're my cousin. I know you really well, so that's always a good start. But, mate, you've had and still are having a great football career. You've done it at a variety of different levels, and you're an extremely talented person. But not only that, mate, you've had a lot of – you do some great work with Cottage by the Sea, a community program there. And obviously you've been a sports nut for most of your life. So you played football, you've played cricket. So you've participated in so much community sort of sport coming through the system and through your teenage years and now being an adult. So I guess what we sort of want to do is hear from you around how has your career sort of been to date, what you've been up to, since we've sort of been shut down for this past 6 months, and just talk us through, I guess, some of the highs and maybe also some of the lows that you've experienced over the journey. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? Maybe talk us through, Steve-O, probably as a starting point, how you've been going over the last 3 to 6 months, given that basically there has been no sport, which has obviously probably had a big impact on you so far.
Well, yeah, it was kind of came out of the blue when all this happened. We were done the whole pre-season, well, most of the pre-season since I came back from overseas at the start of the year, and did the pre-season, and then we got one practice match in, and then pretty much the next day or that week, that was the end of footy for a little bit. So we only got one practice match in, and it was looking good. We played up in Ballarat, and we had a good hit out up there, so things were looking good for the side. And then all this happened, so I thought, instead of this being a hindrance to me, I thought this is a good opportunity to better my fitness and better my football, and really just continue on with pre-season and running. So been doing a fair bit of running over the last month or last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And then there was that chance we went back and almost started the season again. So we had about a week and a half of training, and then all of a sudden it got cancelled altogether. So ever since there, I've just continued running and trying to get as fit as possible, because I always said to myself back in the day, if I ever had a heap of time, I would just do it to improve my fitness and get as fit as I can. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing, really.
Yeah. And no doubt, mate, you're already pretty fit, I will say that. So I'd hate to see what you're actually like now. You must be absolutely flying. So where are you at right now, stationed in terms of where you're playing footy? Which club are you with at the moment?
So I'm playing for the Bell Park Dragons in the Geelong Football League. Been with them for, this would have been the 5th season with them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah,
It's a pretty strong league too. For people who don't know, local league, the GDFL is pretty strong. So good job there, mate. You're doing well. Sounds like. Well done.
Thank you.
So talk us through some of your. I guess we had on your bio. You've had a couple of representative opportunities. Can you talk us through some of that?
Yep. So the first opportunity I got, probably started, like, if I go right back to the start, I was never a superb junior footballer when I was younger. It wasn't until I was probably under 16s, under 18s, where I finally started to progress as a footballer and really have people start taking notice of me. And then I started playing senior footy for Drysdale when I was still 17. So I started there, and then it was a couple of years into senior football where played Ballerine representative interleague. I actually played under 19s interleague. That was the first hit out I had, and ended up getting best on ground for that, which was very surprising, but it was also good. I thought it was just amazing to run out on Skilled Stadium and play on there. And then a couple of years later, played my first seniors interleague squad, and just kind of took that opportunity with both hands and ended up getting best on ground in that game as well. So it was a good experience, good playing with blokes that I've played against for years and years, but to play with these superstars of the league, it was certainly a good opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've also been something else. So what were you selected in the Ballerine League? What have you been also selected in 3 times?
It'd be Team of the Year. So it's like the All Australian equivalent of the local levels. Yeah.
And we don't want people to misunderstand. Like, this is a good level, good quality, strong comp. It's where I think the country league, the GFL, it's where it's strong, it's real, it's skilled, it's based on everything. And if to get that, it's just an amazing feat, mate. So well done on that one. So good job, buddy.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Tough.
Yeah.
Super tough, mate. So you're correct me if I'm wrong, Steve-O, but from my memory of you playing footy, and I haven't seen you play in a little bit, mate. You usually play defender, rebound defender, or have you nailed down key position post down back these days?
Well, when I first started, I was that rebounding, third tall, intercepting player. But coming into the GFL, we've had some people leave the club, some taller players leave, and we've been stretched for height over the last couple of years. So I've had to play key position against some absolute monsters of the league, and it's been a challenge. I'm not that type of player that uses his body quite well, but it's been a challenge, and it's just something you have to do for the team. It's a challenge, and you just kind of have to do the best for the team, and you just have to go from there.
Yeah, I'm sure you do a great job. Now I'm going to rewind a little bit, mate. So you spoke a bit before around when you started to turn 16, 17, around that sort of age, you started to really come into your own, or come on in leaps and bounds as a footballer. Can you talk us through probably a bit around what sort of impacts or influences helped you get to that point where you started to realise and grow into yourself as a footballer and start to take that next level? What were some of the things probably mentally or physically that you did to help you start to progress there?
Probably going right back to the very start when I used to live in Werribee, and then we made the decision to move down to Geelong. And before that, I didn't play any football in Werribee, didn't play Auskick or nothing like that. We moved down to Geelong, which is a big change for me, which was very daunting. But as soon as I moved down to Geelong, it was about 2 weeks later, I started under 10s training, first training I went to, and just haven't looked back from there. And for football, for a long time, it was just about having fun, kicking the footy with your mates. And then when you play alongside your friends, and played alongside some good players, some good friends who were good at football, and just watching them, they were superstars. of that time during juniors, and I could never really keep up with them. Couldn't live up to their kind of standards. So it wasn't till about under 16s where I went from playing random positions to finally playing, getting put into the back line because the coach thought that was a good fit for me. And I've never played anywhere else. I just stuck to the back line, and just went from there. It just clicked for me. I was able to read the game better. It just really worked for me. And then it wasn't until about around that time I was under 16s, under 18s, where I thought if I really want to make myself as a footballer, I've really got to work harder. Like I thought I was doing a fair bit, but compared to what some of the other guys are doing or what I'm doing now, there was no comparison. So I really knuckled down. It was a real mindset of mine to work hard and be that type of person that just did everything in his power to, better my fitness, better my football. I spent hours and hours down by the Oval, which is across the Oval from where I live. Spent hours and hours down there on school holidays and just all the time. So, it was kind of a mindset for me to just focus on my strengths and improve in every aspect. And then once I started that, I was started to really progress as a footballer and get better and better, and was able to become that player people relied on in the back line. Because I remember I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about, it was one pre-season, I think it might have been under 18s, first year. We did this time trial run, and I think I might have come like third last in the running. I wasn't that good of a runner. I just wasn't good. And then I just went away and said, this isn't good enough. I've got to really knuckle down, started running heaps. And then next year, I think we did another time trial run, and I think I came, top 3. And, there was just a massive progression from that stage. So I thought, this is the way it's got to be if I want to become a good footballer and go places and play senior footy in the next couple of years. This was what was required of me. So that's kind of where it all happened for me.
Steve, just so people can understand, basketball a little bit different. We're a bit more of a smaller concept when it comes to layers of level. So you got AFL, VFL, you got local leagues that are pretty damn strong with a lot of absolute talent. So you can go down to the WFL, the GDFL, the Eastern Football League, and you can see absolute great talent that really you could think could be probably good enough to go next level. So you guys are like professional levels because, the pedigree you guys come from, the way you guys play, the stand you play at, it's high level. And people don't realise it because you're not and you have played VFL, I think you have, at Geelong, is that right?
Yep. Play a couple of years down there.
And then you compare them just because you're in the local league and VFL and AFL, just because you're not in the AFL, it doesn't mean you're not playing high level. Can you sort of explain what I mean by that? Because I want people to get a gist that because you haven't made the AFL yet, whether you will or you won't, whether you're cemented in the VFL, whether you will or you won't, there might be reasons why that the local league might be just as strong and you're happy there. Can you explain how that football concept works, levels?
Yep. So everyone comes up through the juniors of the local leagues, and when I first got into the VFL, I had one good season with Drysdale in the local league, and my coach kind of said, I'm going to put you up and get you to have a crack at VFL. So kind of went from there to the VFL and played with some blokes who were playing AFL today, like they were in the same position as me, just came up through the juniors, played some senior footy, got noticed, went to the VFL, played a couple of seasons there, and then they just got noticed through the AFL, and then they get drafted, and now some of them are playing consistent footy. The likes of Tom Stewart, he was playing senior footy for South Barwon down here for years and years, and Matty Scarlett finally came across and said, mate, you're too good for this, time to go to the VFL. He played one season of VFL down there, and now he's two-time All-Australian and one of the best defenders in the AFL. So yeah, that's kind of just how it works. It's just got to progress through each level, and the difference between VFL and GFL or local leagues is not a massive difference, but you can definitely tell just those little bits of differences. Both good standards, but pretty close to one another, I'd say.
And that's where the sport's amazing. The levels of, you say VFL and local league, you think, oh, that's going to be a big difference, but it's not. It's so close. It's the smallest of margins, the smallest of things, and get you in or out. And I don't think people realize that. So I love watching local league. I think it's more real football. It's more, you got the community support. You got the real feel of the home ground advantage, all that stuff. But yeah, amazing, mate. So what's your goal with your football? How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking, Steve?
Nearly 27 next month.
So what's the goal for you? Are you cementing in the Geelong League? Are you looking at VFL again, or you just go say, you know what, I'm going to stay in a local league, make my place. That's where I want to head, and that's my outcome. What's the goal there?
Well, I've always wanted to go to that next level and play the biggest level I can. But over the years, I've had coaches try and get me back into VFL, but they say, they've got players there. They've got similar players to what I am, so they might not need me. I've had coaches try and get me down to Werribee VFL, but with work and then having to go from work, traveling down the road to get to training, that's a big ask. You might get there late for training, and I don't really like that thought process, because if I want to train at the high level, I want to get there early. I want to be ready to go, train every night. But with work, it might have been a bit hard. But I would love every opportunity to play VFL again. I might be getting a bit old for that now, but I'm just happy to progress with GFL, work on my leadership skills, and really help my teammates and all these younger footballers coming up through the juniors and transitioning into senior footy. So yeah, that's just where I'm at, I guess.
Awesome stuff. Steve, I just want to touch on VFL. I know you spent 2 years on Geelong's VFL team there. Can you talk us through, I know the answer to this, so I want the viewers to know, the most terrifying opponent that you played on? It may not have been an actual VFL game. It might have been a practice match from memory. Can you talk us through that experience of who you played on?
Oh, where do I begin? I don't recall playing on any superstars, but I've played against the likes of Jared Waite and Jeff Garlett at the time. Played against Liam Jones during one game. I didn't actually play on him, but I played with him in the same back line, and he was just a monster of a man. He just came tearing up the field, trying to take speckies and just clearing the packs. And I thought, geez, these are some big boys from the AFL. But there's a lot of good players in the VFL. They're there for a reason. They're strong-bodied, fit, smart players, and if you're not on your toes, or if you're not ready to really go up against them, they can make you look very silly. But I don't recall playing on many players. I think I might have played on Jordan De Goey at one point, and I remember it was a Saturday night game up in Bendigo. We played him, and there was one situation where he got the ball, and because they showed us this in the replays in the reviews on Monday the next week at training, they showed him kicking the ball up into the 50, and then as soon as he kicked it, he just took off, got down to the goal square and crumbed it, and then kicked the goal. And in the footage there, showing all of us who were around him at the time when he kicked it initially, and we're just dawdling off, and he's just taken off for the goal square, got his own crumb, and kicked the goal. So that was a real eye-opener for us. He made us look silly, but but yeah, that was one instance where VFL really made us look bad.
It happens, mate. It's all about learning, isn't it? Now, I just want to touch on that VFL side. So when your time came to a sort of an end at VFL level, how did that all sort of come down at that time. Would you talk us through that process?
Yep, probably. It was probably the start of the pre-season. I rocked up to the first training and saw a lot of the blokes from the previous season weren't there. They might have gone back to local levels or switched to another VFL clubs. And I thought, here's a real opportunity to, cement my spot in the side and play some more games, because I thought I've been here a couple of years and there's a lot of new faces and whatnot. So I thought, okay, here's my chance. I might have a good crack at playing VFL for most of the year this year. And I think I took it for granted a bit. At the time, I probably wasn't playing or training at the highest level that I probably could have. And yeah, it kind of it bit me in the ass a bit. Yeah, they saw me that I wasn't performing well, and that was just kind of the decision to say, maybe you're not up to the standard no more. You should go back to local leagues and, try and really make yourself a better footballer there and improve yourself there, and try and play GFL Interleague. And if things work out, we can always get you back. But it's just never happened that way. So they pretty much said, we've got our list now, and you're not on it. So sorry. And that's football. I mean, it happens to people at the highest level. It happens to people at the lowest level. So that's football for you, I guess.
How would you explain getting into your car? Did you start the car? Did you think that this is a negative? Was it a positive? Was it how would you explain that feeling? And what were your thoughts about that decision?
I was absolutely devastated, to be honest. I've never been so devastated. They told me, and I got out of the ground as quick as possible and got in my car and just drove home and just thought, that's the end. Like, I'm not getting back to that level. So yeah, I just thought I was a bit lost, didn't know what to do, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to the local league. I'm going to show these guys what I can do, and play the best footy I can, and try and tell them that they've made a mistake. But that's football, I guess. What can you really do?
It's the coping. It's not, well, I don't know if it's coping mechanism. The word I'm trying to say is that it's how you deal with these type of things in your life. We've all had things in the past that have bit us on the arse, or we've made decisions that have probably had an impact that wasn't the way we wanted to go. But how you deal with that, you can either go home and you can't say, you know what, I'm over it, I'm frustrated. You can blame people, you can point fingers, whatever, and you say, you know what, poor me attitude. Or you can say, you know what, I still love what I do. I can still play at a high level. It's just going to be the level I'm playing at, which will be the Geelong Football League, which is still a high level. But you chose to say, you know what, embrace it, put time back into what you need to do and how you need to go about it. And you've obviously, whether you're not in the VFL or not, mate, the way I'd see it, not really knowing you, is, but you have made an advantageous effort to do something with that decision. Yeah. And the fact that you're helping young kids, and I think, as if that's all right, we might lead into what he does.
Yeah, we're going to lead into that. Yeah, exactly right.
The way you've done it, Steve-O, and like I said, I don't know you. This is me seeing and reading into you now, which I'm impressed with, and I want to chat to you after this about what we do.
Yeah.
The way you dealt with it, the way you're talking about the juniors coming up, how you want to be part of them and help them and guide them and nurture them, leading into what you do now with Cottage by the Sea in Queenscliff. I've never heard of this place until Aaron told me about it the other day. I might just quickly how I got into it, because I didn't want to bias view on what I've read. I want to hear it from you and what it's about and what made you get involved with this. Yeah. Because I want to compare the two. That is this part of your life learnings that you want to give back to others, what you've experienced, how you've gone about it, and I can go on forever about what I'm trying to say here.
Yes.
Explain who you are, what you're doing, what is this Cottage by the Sea, why did you get involved, and how do you actually align your life through football, your life in life itself, and how do you put it all together? Does that sort of make sense, Steve?
Yep. I'll probably have to start from, I'll probably give a description of what Cottage by the Sea is, because not many people have heard of it. It's kind of tucked away down in Queenscliff on the Ballerine Peninsula down there, but it's an organisation that's been running for 130 years now. So, and it's been going for a long time. They've been set up in the exact same position they have been for 130 years, still down there. But it's a non-profit, non-government organisation that relies heavily on public donations from the public, and we aim at helping kids who are disadvantaged from around Victoria. They come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, families that aren't going that well, we'll say.
Difficult time.
Difficult time, difficult families, difficult backgrounds. So the whole idea of them is they come down to Cottage by the Sea, we go pick them up, and it's kind of like a little holiday for them, like a little school camp. We cater to between 10 kids to 30 sometimes, mostly around the average of between 15 and 20 kids for the week. We pick them up, we can't bring them down to the cottage, and we just show them a good time, run activities with them for the week, and just kind of give them a break from their normal everyday life, which can be pretty tough. We run activities like surfing with them. We've got the beach right on our back doorstep, so we take them swimming, which is great in the summertime. We show them around Queenscliff and around Geelong area, and just run some really cool games and activities with them, just to give them a break from their normal everyday life. When I first started, I came straight out of high school into the job. I did a traineeship for a year, which is really good. It was my first proper job. I remember doing the job interview when I was still doing Year 12 exams. It was right in the middle of it. So I thought, here's an opportunity. I thought, why not? Let's go down, interview for the job. And I was lucky enough to get it. So I spent the whole next year as a trainee, just working with the kids, learning the ropes. And then after that, I became a casual camp leader. That's what we're called. We're the ones who look after the children down there. So we look after the kids, do night shifts with them. It's pretty much 24-hour supervision of them, which is it's a very, very rewarding job, to say the least. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the why, Steve-O. Why choose that job? I know you said it was sort of your first job, but why you continue to do it? So what the why around that? Really dive into that for us.
Yeah, so at the time when I first got the job, it was pretty much just, it seemed like a fun job. We're outdoors, we're doing activities, we're playing with kids, playing basketball in the backyard, playing on the playground. It just seemed like a really, really cool job in a great location, and just seemed like a good way to earn money. But over the years, the more you work with kids and the more you kind of learn their backgrounds and what they've gone through over the years, where they've come from, you kind of you really want to help them and kind of be that role model for them, because when they come to the camp, you kind of want to teach them that all adults out there aren't all bad. Like, there are some good people out there who are willing to help you and have fun with you and show you love and kind of affection in that way. So once you do that and you work with these kids, and when they first come to the camp, they're shy, they don't know what's going on, they don't know what they're in for. But by the end of the week, they don't want to go home. They absolutely love it. They never want to leave. They've had the most fun that they've had ever. They've done activities that they might have never done in their whole life. We've had some kids that have never seen the beach. They've never been down to the beach because their parents can't afford to take them, or they live in the country far away. So when you get taken to the beach and you just see the look on their face when they do something amazing like that, or they get to play in the sand, it just makes it all worthwhile. There's 3 programs that we run, or 4, but I'll talk about 3 for now. One's called the Take a Break program, which is the one where we get kids from the ages 6 to 12, primary age kids. They're the main kids that come down. But we also run a program called the Reef program, which stands for Recreation, Environment, Education, and Friendships. And that whole idea is helping kids in grade 6 when they first start, to help them transition into high school for the next year, help them create friendships with the group that they've come down with, help them prepare for high school and all that. And then after that 2-year period, they graduate from the Reef program, and then they become mentors, which runs from year 8, start of year 8 until all the way until they finish year 12. So I've had a lot of kids come through that program. When I first started, when we had a group of kids start the Reef program when they were in year 6, we've been with a couple of those kids right from the start, and we watched them progress and mature into young adults, and now they've finished high school and out into the world working and whatnot. So we regularly keep in contact with those kids, see where they're at, see what they're doing and whatnot. And it's just great to see how they've progressed and the people that they've become over the years. So when you get to work with these kids and they come back 4 or 5 times a year for different camps and whatnot, you really get to know them and really understand their life and whatnot. It's very, very rewarding to, build those friendship with these kids that you've seen them since they were little tackers, and now some of them are even taller than you. Some play sport, some are just geniuses at school that they're just going places. So yeah, it's just it's great to see all these kids progress through life.
It's amazing. It's an amazing organisation, Daz, isn't it? I mean, that's something that Daz, you and I, we're both, and your business, Daz, with Transition Sports, and we're both basketball coaches. There's nothing like having a team or a group of kids and just seeing them from a certain starting point, no matter their background or the way they've been brought up, who their parents are, whatever the case may be, and just see them develop into amazing people. It's probably one of the most rewarding things anyone can do. Hey.
Well, there's no scoreboard result. It's life result. They're the things that are true reflection of someone, and as an individual, as a group. And Steve, what I love, because Transition Sports is basketball constantly, but we are known to be more than that now. We see what kids go through, what they experience. We help them go through the journey of life through sport as a tool. Probably going back to your sporting and what they're going through, how do you feel knowing that you've seen it? That's the real life. That's what you've seen, the reality of life. And you're still pretty young, Steve.
Yep.
How do you then put the message back to the kids coming through the sports who are actually got their life's not so bad? Yeah, okay, they've got some difficulties. Everyone's got struggles. Everyone's got difficulties to a certain degree, and we don't want to judge anyone. But how do you make them appreciate it more? To say, look, it is sport. It is fun. It is engaging. Yes, there are going to be expectations. Yes, there's going to be some failures. There's going to be some winnings. But how do you make them stay engaged when knowing that you've got people who don't even get the opportunity to step on a footy field, who don't get to put their foot in a bit of water, don't get to feel those feet on the sand? Now, they don't get these experiences. How do you really try and promote that to the kids that have got an okay life and to appreciate what they've got a little bit more? COVID-19, of all the negatives it has, and I mean a lot of negatives, it's broken me to my knees multiple times, is the positives are appreciate what we need to appreciate and realize what we do have. Does that make sense, Steve? Do you package that up together?
Yep. So biggest thing we can teach for the kids is resilience. Like there's going to be times in life where it's going to kick you in the guts and put you on the ground, but we try and encourage them to, just keep trying. And that's the whole idea of running these activities with them. Like surfing's a pretty dangerous activity to do. It's pretty hard to pick up straight away. Like there's people that have been surfing for years and years and still haven't picked it up. So when we get the kids out onto that's everyone. We've all got to start somewhere. With kids, we get them on the board, we give them a quick lesson, and we tell them, you might not even stand up, but if you can get up to your knees and ride a wave in, that's better than what most can do. So that's something like along the lines that we try and teach them with everything. we take kids when they just before they graduate the reef program, we take them up to the snow, up to Mount Buller, and take them snowboarding, which is it's always a highlight of their time at Cottage by the Sea. They always talk about the snow camp and how fun it was, and but when we get up there, we tell them, it's a dangerous sport. It's bloody hard. You're going to fall over a bunch of times. Your butt's going to hurt so bad from falling on the ice so many times, but it's about how you get back up and just keep going. You can either just lie there in the snow and give up, or you can keep going, keep progressing, and eventually you'll pick it up and you'll get better at it and get better at it. And by the end of the week, we're seeing kids go from barely even being able to stand up on the board or not even know how to put their snowboard on, and they're doing circles around us, doing circles around these adults that are going down the mountain. So it's all about just telling them, keep progressing, keep having a go. We don't care if you fail a million times, just as long as we don't see you giving up, and keep having a crack at surfing, snowboarding, swimming at the beach. We get kids that are tiny. Some of the waves are bigger than the kids, but we encourage them, get in the water. You only have to go up to your knees or your feet or anything like that. But just have a go, and that's all we can really say. And as camp leaders, you gotta be role models. You gotta lead by example and show them how it's done. If they see you giving up or not wanting to have a go, then they're going to think, okay, that's normal. That's the way it's got to be. So yes, that's all we can do is just be role models. Let them observe our body language and how we handle it, and that's all we can really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a thing happen to us, but a while ago now. But just some of the stories aren't always going to be successful, Steve. It's unfortunately the way things are. That's not always going to be a guaranteed success. Your dream, you're not always going to achieve it. We're not always going to get what we want out of life. It's unfortunate. That's where it's hard and it breaks us.
Yep.
How do you deal with that when you see that happen? We don't need to know the stories because I think it's right to anyone else to hear them. But just the feelings of emotion, knowing that one wasn't a success, and we're unfortunately we did everything we could for whatever happened or didn't happen. How do you deal with that yourself? Because I know I carry the burden of what I see the kids carry. Sometimes I take it on too much, which means I then bring it home and I'm weighted down by the emotions that I've had to deal with, or I take the emotions off them and carry it for them. How do you go through that process of dealing with it, coping with it, and then trying to get back up the next day and be energized, rejuvenated, and inspiring for the next group coming through?
It's just kind of something you have to learn over a long time. Like, I never thought I would be in the position that I am now. It's just I've really had to work hard on it in my mindset and how I think about things and how I deal with things. It's a very hard thing to explain for me because I don't know. It's just kind of happened that way for me. It just kind of naturally happened. We've all failed. We've failed at football. I've failed during games. I've had bad games, but you just got to tell yourself that it's not the end. It's not your last game. You've got to really pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. There'll be other opportunities, and you can either roll over and say this is the end, or that's as good as it's going to get for me, or you can go out there, you can work a little bit harder, set that standard for yourself, and just always try and raise that level just a little bit more, higher and higher. And when you try and transition that into your work, working hard's been something that I've just naturally has become a part of my life. It's pretty much who I am now. It's pretty much how you describe me. So when people see me working hard off the field, on the field, and then taking that into a work setting, and then working hard with these kids and working hard in the workplace, whatever it might be, you just hope that there's someone watching and someone taking like little notes on what you're doing, and hopefully that rubs off on them, and then they're able to kind of take that that skill and that mindset into their life, and hopefully they can continue on with it. It's not really something I can really teach to the kids one-on-one, because there are so many of them, but just the way you present yourself and how you go about it. You can talk to the kids and talk about what you've been through, but you know, they can listen to you, or they can ignore you. But hopefully, if it all works out, you know, they'll learn something from it, even if it is just something tiny. So yeah,
That's it. That's it, mate. Celebrate the little wins along the way, and hopefully the little bits of gold that you drop along the way is something that they can take with them for life. I think that's for sure.
Yep.
Dazza, did you have any other questions, probably in relation to Cottage by the Sea? And
So,
otherwise, we could change gears here, because I'm keen to get into this next little bit as well.
we'll jump across the next one. As I say,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Steve. I'd like to speak to Steve more personally about the Cottage by the Sea.
Yeah.
With sport and some ideas and some things, workshops and that.
Yeah.
Jump across, mate. Lead into the next one.
All right, shift gears here, Steve. You've been traveling across different parts of the world the last few years, mate. So I want you to share with us some of the unbelievable and outrageous experiences that you've had, mate. Reel them off for us. Where have you been? What have you done? What have you seen? And what have you learnt?
Where do I begin? First trip I ever did was over to New Zealand to go snowboarding over there. That was the first big trip that I've done, and that was amazing, just to snowboard and get away. I think that was mid football season, so that was good to break up the season doing that. On all my memories on social media are popping up at the moment, because the last 3 years in October I've been overseas somewhere after the footy season. So this is the first October I've spent in Australia for 4 years now, which sucks, because I'd rather be somewhere else right now, traveling the world, but it just doesn't work out like that. So been over to Japan and snowboarded over there as well, and seen the sights over there. I love Japan. It's just an absolute amazing place, just so picturesque and beautiful. The food there's amazing. The people are so gentle and kind, as you know, as you've been there. Just an amazing place. I'd love to get back there pretty soon. 3 years ago, around this time, we were in Nepal with my sisters, traveling up to Everest Base Camp for a couple of weeks, hiking up there, which was probably the best thing I've ever done. It was just picturesque, beautiful. Going up there with your sisters was just amazing. Had its difficulties with our group, with the altitude, and seeing people battle with that altitude sickness. It was a big eye opener. But to get all the way to the base camp and get there was 5.2 kilometers up in the air at base camp. But seriously, one of the best things I've ever done. I'd love to go back there right now and keep hiking and through those mountains and do all those things, which was amazing. 2 years ago at this time, I was in Southeast Asia, traveling by myself. That was the first solo trip I've done, which is a bit daunting, but I've always wanted to do it. But spent 2 months in Southeast Asia, going through the countries there by myself, which was just an amazing experience. And you can really learn a lot about yourself when you're traveling by yourself over there, and at a place that can be a bit sketchy. But when people tell you all these things about other countries, be safe, you're in big trouble if you do this or do that. But once you get over there, and if you have your head screwed on properly, it's just another country. It's beautiful. There's things to do. There's people to see. There's some amazing things to do. That was amazing. And then a year ago, I was traveling through Africa for 10 weeks with my good friend. And that was another one of those situations where before I left, had everybody telling me, be careful. We do not do anything silly in Africa. They're telling me about how people are getting dragged out of cars in South Africa and getting mugged and all these dangerous things. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what have we got ourselves into? Everyone's scaring me. Are these things going to happen to us? You know, we're driving ourselves around in South Africa for the first 2 weeks, and all I could think of was, here we go, something bad's going to happen to us. Like
jeez.
anything could
You're on
happen
edge.
in South Africa. And then as soon as we got there, it was completely fine. It was, if we felt completely safe, we saw some amazing things, did some amazing things. And then, yeah, it was pretty much just an amazing experience going through South Africa and then traveling all the way up to Kenya and then up through Egypt and Jordan. So that was the last big trip that I did at the end of last year before, you know, all of this has happened to us.
What does that do to you as a person to do such? There's 2 questions I'm going to ask you. Sorry, Steve.
Yep.
What does it do to you as a person? Because I know you physically challenge yourself, but these trips will be mentally challenging, as you said, by yourself, but also sharing with friends. Because sometimes you go with people and you didn't realize, well, I'm stuck with them, and sometimes that can work in your favor. And actually, there's 3 questions. I'll get greedy. One thing you got me on. So just answer how you want, and maybe I always do this. I'm just known to do it. When people keep telling you all the negative things are going to happen, it takes away the joy of you getting on the plane and being excited to go. You'd be going, holy shit, what's going to happen? Like you said, the first time you'd be thinking, what's going to happen to me? And you don't really get to see what you should see.
Yeah.
When do people don't realize that you're probably seeing the same article and the same news that they see, because people giving you the advice have never experienced it. It's like, don't buy a red car. They've never bought it. They've never owned a red car. Like, don't buy a Holden. They've never owned a Holden. But everyone's got these views and opinions.
Yeah.
How much did that actually impact the start of your trip mentally, knowing that everyone's just giving you negative, instead of saying, hey, mate, you know what? Learn from it, enjoy it. Look, all I can say is be safe, do the right things. You're an adult, you know what you need to be doing, and that's it. That should be enough. But not now, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. How does that just change your whole joy of wanting to go away? Does that make sense?
It probably doesn't change it that much, to be honest. Like, you have that thought in the back of your head that something could go wrong, but you just don't want to believe it because you don't want it to ruin your holiday. It's always going to linger in the back of your head. But I like to think of myself as a pretty fearless person, just up for anything, willing to go anywhere. And that was kind of my mindset going in. People have to say, have your wits about you when you go over there. And of course you have to do that when you go over there. And it probably did put us off a few things, like doing a few things and going to a few places, because we weren't like, okay, we don't know this area, don't know if it's safe or not. So how do we tackle it? So we probably went into our shells a little bit. When we first got over we flew into Johannesburg, and we just picked up our hire car, and it was just starting to get dark. And, we didn't know where we were going or how to get in there. We had to get up our maps on our phone, and then we had to drive through the streets where there are hundreds and hundreds of people all over the street in the dark. And we just had no idea where we were going. We just had to drive around the street trying to find our Airbnb. And then we finally got there, and we got to the hotel. We pull up on the sidewalk, and the first thing that happens was someone taps on our window. Some guy, and I thought, oh no, here we go. We've been in the country for this is how it ends. I thought, oh no, but it was just some homeless guy asking for money. So it just seems to be the way things go when I travel, or this might happen with everyone. There's situations that seem scary, or things could go horribly wrong, but they just never do.
Yeah, worst case scenario in your mind straight away. Yeah,
like it could be, anything could happen. Worse could happen, but it just ends up being just one of those stories that you tell that is funny, and one of those situations that you get away with. But I've never let it hinder my adventures and my travels, because I don't go over there to play it safe or have a quiet holiday or whatnot. I want to get out there and see as much as I can and whatnot. So it just comes back to that mindset thing of, telling yourself everything's going to be okay. It's going to be a great holiday. You're going to meet up with people. There's good people out in the world. I mean, you might run across the bad one every now and then if you're unlucky, and something might happen to you. But, it's a good safe world out there in most places. So you just gotta have your wits about you, like everyone told me before I left.
Good stuff.
That's where people should use that motto in sport.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it.
This is probably why I asked the question, because a lot of people put the fear of God into kids, players. Make sure the kids are going to be themselves. They're going to play to the ability they need to be because they're so worried about what they shouldn't do instead of what they should do. It's like life. You know what?
Yep.
If I'm going to worry about getting hit by a bus, I'm not going to cross the road. Well, that means I'm never going to cross the road ever again. Like the bus is going to hit me. I know that sounds wrong, but I've experienced something in the past to actually prove that. But at the end of the day, to give it a go, you got to give it a go. We can't just let everyone else hold us back. All those thoughts hold us back until it happens to us. Just navigate your way through, and like you said, wits about you. Think about it, process it, and evaluate it. Make those decisions accordingly. I think it's simple, but maybe it's not. I don't know. We should go away, Steve. You and me would.
Hey, we'll talk about it after this. Steve-O and I have got a trip lined up, ready to go, don't we, Steve-O?
Well, boys, if I jump on, it'll happen to us. Trust me.
I know. Well, that's what we'll talk about after this.
Lovely.
So where are we going with that? We're at 4 hours in. No, we're not. We're about. I don't know what we're in. To be fair, I'm loving it. I could go forever.
We could, couldn't we? Look, probably one last thing to sign off. I think, Steve-O, what's been probably in all your travels? You've gone to some amazing places, seen amazing people. You've played sport at an incredibly high level, and something you should be proud of, mate. And I know the family, we're all proud of you. What's been the biggest takeaway for you out of it all? What you've experienced so far?
Probably the biggest thing is if you want things out of life, if you want to achieve things, you've got to work hard. And that was that mindset thing that I kind of implemented when I was around the age of 16, 17. I said, I got to work hard. This is what I've got to be. I've just got to work hard through every situation. If it's work, if it's sports, work hard, and then you'll get rewarded in the end. And that was my thought process when I was at uni. I thought, uni isn't my thing. I'm not a good learner. I'm not the type of person that could sit in front of the books for hours on end. I'm an outdoorsy person, hands-on, practical learner. But if I just thought work hard, stay positive, having that mindset that everything's going to be okay and everything's going to work out if you just work hard and have that mindset to just get through everything. And now I've taken that into nearly every aspect of my life, whether it's sport, work, all those sorts of things. If you just work hard, you'll get rewarded. You'll stand above the rest, and people will notice this, and hopefully they will, and hopefully you'll get rewarded with it, with work, getting bumped up to a different level, to say VFL or AFL or basketball, whatever it might be. And and then once you've done that, you can really enjoy the good things in life, like traveling and being able to save up money so you can travel and see the world and just do all these fun things, and go snowboarding, go camping, go in the outdoors, and just enjoy those simple things in life, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. Well said.
So it's like, if you prepare yourself or unprepare yourself, you're going to work out what you do and don't get the next day. If that makes sense. If you're either prepared or you're not prepared. But the thing about achieving something, you can work hard to achieve something, and you may fall short on achieving what you hope to achieve. But that's still the reward in itself. The fact that you were better than what you were yesterday because you put the time and effort into it, which will prepare you for something else or another opportunity that will be created. Absolutely. I think a lot of people get lost in we work hard to achieve, and everyone thinks, well, there's no point because I'm not going to achieve it. No, it's the fact that you worked hard. You won't have the regret of not working hard, and what it formulates you to become, or you evolve as over the next days, months, years, whatever. Working hard will give you the reward in itself. You may not see it yet, but you'll see the rewards later. Does that make sense, guys? Would you agree?
Absolutely, I think so, Daz. The beauty's in the journey. The learnings are all in the journey. The destination will be what it'll be, and just absorb what whatever you can along the way. Make the most of it. Make the most of the learnings, because it's going to help you in other phases of your life that you probably never ever thought about before.
Yeah.
Well, I look back. This was actually, and you only asked how I was this week. As you know, I've had a bit of a bad week personally with how, and you're reflecting, you're overthinking and reflect on too much about what you've gone through. So I look back at what's happened, my journey in the last X amount of years, where I could have been, where I should have been, or I am now. But then I realized, you know what? If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have learned this. I wouldn't have experienced this. I probably wouldn't have had 4 kids. I probably wouldn't. My life would be so different, but I just don't know. But then again, I wouldn't have been able to be. I'm a tradie. I'm a basketball coach. I'm this. I've done all these things I wouldn't have done. Yes, I had an eventful night, a remorseful night that changed our lives forever, but also gave me a whole new lot of opportunity. Does that make sense?
That's it, mate. Yeah.
I don't like learning that way, but I still learned and got an outcome out of it, and I've still got a lot of learning to do. But and I want everyone to hear that. You know, like Steve, you go through life learnings, through sport, through your work, through your travels. And somehow I can see you're marrying them or merging it all together. You might not even realize how much you're doing that until maybe you're a little bit older. But you got to look back when you have kids and a family and think, wow, I was able to collaborate all that. And Azza, you're doing that now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. For sure.
All right. Yeah. Well, Steve-O, we're not going because we don't want to talk to you anymore. We are known just to talk forever. And me and Azza made an agreement 2 weeks ago. We did the first one. I don't care. I'll talk to you.
Absolutely. It's been a great chat, hasn't it? We've got so much great messages out of this chat, and we hope that, the people that tune in and listen, that this helps you along your own journey as well.
Yeah, absolutely fine. So, Azza, any final say for you, and then to Steve, and then I'll just sign us off. Azza, anything to say to finish off with having Steve on and what we discussed?
No, look, Steve-O knows how much I love him, and how highly I think of him. He's an absolute legend. I can remember having to spend some of those summer sessions running with him, and I couldn't keep up. So he's an absolute jet, but he's a great person too. So it's great to have you on, mate.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be here, guys. Appreciate it.
Steve-O, any final thoughts for you about what we've spoken about, or maybe any messages for any viewers, or anything you want? Up to you.
Not really. It's just kind of, we're all going through tough times at the moment, but we've just got to think of this as an opportunity rather than a hindrance in this time. Like, some of us might have plenty of time on our hands to either better ourselves or do things that we might not have ever done before. But in the end, we'll all get through this, and we'll all become better because of it. So everyone's just got to hang in there tough, and it'll all unfold and work itself out in the end. Life goes on.
Well said, mate. It's a challenge, it's a roadblock, but we'll get through it. All right, guys, as our normal thing goes, stay safe, stay well, stay strong. If you're feeling down and out, do not hesitate to reach out. You are not a burden. Someone will take your call. Someone will take your message. We all need it for each other. Like we said, just because someone else is going through the same storm doesn't mean it's the same boat. Or we just like to help each other through the storm together, no matter at what degree. So let's do it together, one in, all in. All right, guys, we're signing out. You two stay on for a minute. We'll have a quick chat of things we can say offline, and then we'll welcome everyone on episode 14 next week. All right, guys, stay safe,
guys.
Much
Look
love.
after each other.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. See you guys.